In relation to the International Literacy Day, we, on behalf of Literature Club of GIMT, organized one webinar. The topic of the webinar is New Education Policy in India, Opportunities and Challenges. So, first of all, I request Principal Sir, Professor Nath to deliver his speech.
First of all the distinguished guest experts for today's seminar, particularly Dr. Nipen Das sir, Register Astu, and Dr. Saptadipa Sandilya, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Guwahati University, and all other senior faculties and other faculties from GMT. I am here to welcome you all again to this webinar, which is the new education policy in India, opportunities and challenges. We are to deliver on this today, so I welcome you all. Today, as our literature club is organizing it for the occasion of Literacy Day, it was in 8 September, of course, but anyway, today is very suitable for us, and we are here. New education policy, as we know, it is becoming multidisciplinary and flexible, and it will challenge us also. It will bring us opportunities, but it will have great challenges in performing in all the dimensions. So, we know from our engineering knowledge that human being also is a system, and whatever inputs are coming, but we are to deliver output in the best way. So literature also is a kind of activities which is the finest output of the human system. So whatever the input coming to us, we are to convert it and we are to deliver the output for the betterment of everyone, well-being of everyone, of the society. Now, with the new education policy, as India is uh, targeting to be the knowledge power, knowledge superpower, so to say, in the world. So for that, the front warriors will be the teachers, front warriors. So they are to fight it at their best. So challenges, yes, we are to take great challenges at this time. Our personal development and expertise, because everyone has his own kind of specialities and expertise, and always that can be enhanced. As we are in the field of teaching learning, we know that everything can be learned and everything can be disseminated to the students or to the receivers. So we can acquire any kind of knowledge what is required at this moment. So sometimes we have seen that nowadays for employability, soft skills are becoming very important. That's why I always give emphasis that everyone, every teacher of GIMT particularly, should be equipped with, should be expert in soft skills. There is no difficulty. We can do that. That is required. If teachers are not well equipped, how they can disseminate to the students? So first, we must be expert. That is the main requirement. We must be expert. not just of a ordinary level. We are to always target to the highest level. Highest level of proficiency, every teacher is to target for. So goal should be very, very challenging. That is the beauty of being a teacher, because we are the forerunners, we are the front warriors, and whole society, whole country, so to say, whole world now is looking to India. India has to take the lead. Yes, India has a great knowledge system of the past. On the basis of that, for the requirement of the present time, we are the teachers. We are to take the challenge and the new education policy on which more deliberations will be there, more light will be thrown on that. We are to be clear about the opportunities and the challenges, whatever is required for this time, whatever is required. If soft skill is required, we are to go for that. If computer literacy is required, we are to go for that. If some other softwares and other requirements are there in our say communication with the students and the rest, we are to be expert in all those fields. So as we are coming gradually out of the pandemic threat, gradually uh, this situation is becoming gradually normal, and we are to say uh, we are to enhance our activities. As today's webinar also is an effort in this direction. So there will be webinars every day. Maybe 2 webinars every day will be the norms now. So we are to be ready for all those kind of challenges. Teachers, all teachers are to be thinking for their own development. All are to think of their own personal growth. That is what the requirement, preliminary requirement. Then we have to go for others. Particularly, say for example, AICT's initiative USV, Universal Human Values. I was giving maximum say stress on that, because that is a beginning point for personal development. And at the same time, we have Swayam portals. We are to acquire as many as different kind of knowledge. Maybe many are in the line of motivation, leadership, and other communication and other soft skills. So all are the requirements of this moment. So I will request all the teachers to be ready for taking those lofty challenges, and we can together, of course, we are to bring a great sense to the society and to the country and to the whole human well-being. We are to work together. We are to work in more efficiently. 10x or something we can put, say for example 10x or maybe 20x, whatever is required. We are to be committed to the best we can do. So I will not go on more emphasizing on these things. So there are other speakers, invited special speakers. So here once more I am here to welcome everyone and wish a great success for today's webinar. Thank you all. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable speech. It is our privilege that Dr. Nipen Das, Registrar of Assam Science and Technology University, is with us to grace the event. I request him to deliver his valuable speech.
Respected Principal, Nath sir, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, you are audible.
So, the invited guests from Guwahati University, Professor, I forgot Madam's name.
Takkaripa.
Yeah. So, and the faculties and students, I think there are students participants also in the list. I don't think so. Is it student participants? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you
Yes,
are
sir.
audible.
Yes, sir.
So, to speak about National Education Policy 2020 in 1 hour or 2 hours, it is not a possible small task. But if you go through the policy documents of Government of India, which is at the policy stage, and they have already published it last year. So everybody will get a idea about how the government or the policymakers are planning to change the entire education system of India. It is a marvelous sense. We adopted education policy in 1986, modified in 1992, and in such way we have catered one act, Right to Children's Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, which has revolutionized the entire primary education system of India. Sarva Shiksha Abhijan Mission, Anganwadi Abhijan Mission, Anganwadi Kendras are the different product of these acts, and that has been incorporated by the government. Depending on the traditions and policies of the Indian value system and Indian education system, 5,000 years ago, people used to come to India for learning the basics of Indian education and Indian value system. So we own an tradition of like that. So the present policy is aiming to become India a global superpower in education sector. Already we are towards that, but there are some difficulties. There are some lacunas. There are some points where we must not spend money unnecessarily. We must go for this type of changes and challenges, and those have been incorporated in the New Education Policy 2020. So it is a matter of pride for all of us, those who are in the education sector at present, like all of you, those who have participated, all are in education sector. So it is a matter of pride for us that we are getting such a policy, and the policy is aiming the fundamental pillars like access, equity, quality, affordability, accountability, etc. to a very large extent possible. There are frames of regulations. There are foundations of these concepts have been given in the policy, and I today request each and every one of you to go through the policy in a very decent manner, in a cool stage, so that you can understand each and every point. There are 65 pages document Government of India has published, and that document envisages everything. What I have understood today, what all of have understood today is through that document policy only. And recently it is seen that the teachers of our fraternity have started thinking about and advising about these policy matters and this policy, and government is already announced, Assam government has also announced that we are going to have our new education policy implemented from 2020-2023 as early as possible, if COVID does not give us a very bad impression about very bad situation of delaying the implementation of the policy. So the national education policy special features are some there. It is the concept is there. Early childhood care and education. The concept was already there. We have studied, the people have studied all the early childhood care. We know that. But the school education has been revamped or trying to revamp with the early childhood education policy is the foundation of learning for the Indian students. See, new education policy, all of you know, have given a new pattern of 5+3+3+4 pattern of education. That means the basic aim is to make a child play when it is his playing time. The early 5 years, 3 to 8 years, or the pre-primary education's level, foundation level, is a playing stage. They like to play. All of you are child. Just think about at that time, we only like to play. So the policy is emphasizing that the activities of the student should be play-based and doing some activity in that process. So it is, you will learn about alphabet, you will learn about numbers, you will learn about the languages, you will learn about the shapes, different shapes, you will learn even problem solving and logical thinking also, but through playing. So the policy envisages like this. Now it is our duty. It is our duty of the planners and the educators and experiments, those who are having experiences, to devise processes and to devise methodologies how to engage a child in play activities and how to make him learn these small concepts of these things that are the basic requirement of the education system. So we had already the Anganwadi networks. Anganwadi networks is to be revamped under new education policy so that the child at the village level, at the very interior place, can get the benefit of these new policies. Government is going to invest money, government is going to implement money. So spend some money for these holistic developments of the child so that his social, emotional, cognitions and cognitive and physical needs are fulfilled. So there is another way, another purpose of curtailing dropout rates, so that the dropout in Indian system, we know for various reasons, even in towns and cities, there are dropout of students. Now the society is full of so many bad elements and other things that children are attracted towards bad habits, and they seem to drop out at the early stage. Age limit between 6 to 18 years. It was published in the policy document that 6.2 crores dropout were there in the year 2013. So there is a huge difference. There is a huge problem of dropout. So dropout is to be curtailed. Now policy says that dropout are to be curtailed. It gives the preventive measures also. So effective infrastructure, extra school infrastructure is to be built. Innovative education mechanism is to be built. Teachers are to be trained, encouraged for reducing the dropouts. So these type of small things have been taken care of in the national education policy. New curriculum and pedagogy of fundamental, preparatory, middle school, high school, giving 5+3+3+4 pattern will be a marvelous change, which will reduce the competitiveness, unnecessary competitiveness of the students at that stage. How much you get in class 10, how much you get is score in, what is your score in class 12. You are a science student, you are a art student, you are a commerce student. So these type of differences will not be there, and it will be a thorough system of education so that the pass outs can get the benefit of the new education policy, and the knowledge is really transferred to the human mind, and the child is able to build himself as required, as envisages in the national policy of education. So in this way, I am not going to discuss these things in detail. Just it is an example. Let me say something about the national education policy says about the universities, being a person from the universities. So it says that research intensive universities will be produced. So universities will concentrate on research activities only, and they will offer PhDs and master's degrees with associated research, multidimensional research, so emerging area research, etc. There will be another type of university who will be only the teaching university. They will rationalize the teaching process, and they are offering degrees for the teaching purposes. There will be some colleges. The colleges will not be actually put directly under the universities. So they will be given an autonomous degree granting college, ACs. It is subscribed as ABs, ACs. So autonomous degree granting college will be autonomous in nature. They can design their courses, they can design their syllabus, they can hold their examinations, and they will be autonomous nature. But it is very difficult to achieve all these activities. It is true. But if we plan in a proper direction, proper regulations are there, proper regulatory authorities are there, then there will be some time it will take, and we will be targeting, we will be achieving all those, definitely all those targets. Now, as Assam Science and Technology University, our future is this. Like, we have to convert ourselves either to the research universities or to the teaching universities. We are not an affiliating university. We will not be an affiliating university no longer. GIMT and other colleges will not be an affiliated college. They have to be converted either to autonomous degree granting colleges as per the conditions of the. So everybody has to be ready like that. Everybody has to prepare themselves like this. Planning has to be done like that. Then let me say something about the regulatory bodies for transforming this higher education system of the as per the NEP 2020. So regulatory bodies, amongst the regulatory bodies, National Higher Education Regulatory Authority, NHERA, will be set up to regulate all the activities of the higher education system. It will help in particularly financing, governance, and fully online and offline courses also. It will be effectively regulated while leaving the rest of the judgment to higher education institutions, which is essential for institutional autonomy, innovation in pursuit of excellence. Then there will be a General Education Council, GEC. It will be expected to give us the learning outcomes of the higher education program, which are also termed as graduate attributes. A National Higher Education Qualification Framework, NHEQF. Like today we have National Skill Qualification Framework. It will be similar like of that. Skill qualification framework, network framework will also be there. There will be National Higher Education Quality Framework, which will form higher educations leading to degree diploma certificates described in National Higher Education Quality Framework in terms of learning outcomes. So these bodies will be formed. The professional bodies like ICAR, VCI, National Council for Teaching Education, Teachers Education will all be termed as member of the General Education Council, which will be preparing the professional standard setting bodies. They will be known as PSSB, Professional Standard Setting Bodies. So these professional standard setting bodies will the framework of the curriculum against which educational institution will prepare its own curriculum. So mass autonomy is given for the colleges also, for the universities also, to design their course as per the requirement. So then will be sellable in the society. Then Higher Education Grants Commission will be erected, will be created, which will take care of funding and financing of education based in a transparent criteria, including the institutional development plans prepared by the institutions and the progress made in the implementation of IDBs will also be monitored by Higher Education Grants Commission, HEGC. Now today's the role of UGC will be handed over to Higher Education Grants Commission in a different way, so that the higher education institutions get full autonomy. So these are the regulatory mechanism for the national education policy. Then I would like to speak something about implementation. Implementation of the national education policy is a tough challenge for the government as well as the bodies, as well as for us also. So implementation, we have to be very serious. The policy has not given very detail about the implementation policy. It will be definitely framing out in the subsequent time. Sufficient space will be given, and they have given some implementation. So the implementation will be guided by some principles, like first, it is implementation of the spirit and intent of the policy in a critical manner. Secondly, it is important to implement the policies in a phased manner, in a step-by-step process which requires previous step to be implemented successfully before the next step is taken. Thirdly, prioritization. Prioritization will be one of the implementation technique or principle where it will be prioritizing the education. See, different policies, that's different points that have been incorporated in the policy. Fourth is a comprehensiveness in implementation. It will be the key, and the policy is an interconnected and holistic, full-fledged implementation and not a piecemeal one. So it will be a comprehensive implementation also. Number 5 is the concurrent subject. It will be between states and center. Different states of India have got different problems, and there will be different types of problem in implementing these things. In some states it will be very easy. In some states it will be very difficult to implement all the implementation of the policy. So that has to be a collaborative implementation between the state and other state and center, so that the policy is taken care of in the country as a whole in a holistic manner. 6 is the timely infusion of the requisite resources. So we need human resources, we need infrastructural resources, we need policy resources. So all these resources will be infused, will be given to the states and from the center or from the regulatory authorities, so that the entire country can implement it in a holistic manner. Finally, careful analysis and review and linkage between 7 steps will be multiple parallel implementation of the steps will be planned by the national regulatory higher education regulatory authority. So this is how the policy will be implemented as a whole, and we will be definitely a part of the entire system. As a register of a university, I will also have some definite duties to be performed as a teacher, as a principal, as a director of the colleges or institutions. All will have a different implementation. So does it is a responsibility, holistic responsibility, or it is a comprehensive responsibility of all of us involved in the system to make it assured that we will implement the national education policy, and we will discuss the problems and prospects with different agencies as it permits, as it goes implemented. So with this, I hope I have given a gist of the entire policy documents. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable speech. We are really benefited from your speech. Now, we are very glad to say that today in between us, Dr. Saptadipa Sandilla. She is currently serving as Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Guwahati University. She has done master degree and PhD from Guwahati University in the field of entrepreneurship, marketing, human resource management, strategies management, consumer behavior. She is a good researcher and she contributed many research work in the field of commerce. Besides this, she is a good coordinator and good academic organizer. She has excellent talent in singing and other soft skill also. We convey our heartiest greetings to Dr. Saptadipa Sandilla. Today, she will present her thought on this occasion about the new education policy of India, its challenges and opportunities. So I request her to give her talk, and next schedule will be continued by Ritushree Sharma. Dr. Saptadipa Sandilla, I request you to deliver your talk.
Very good morning. Is my voice clear?
Yes, ma'am, your voice is clear.
Esteemed Principal Sir, Nath Sir, Ripenda Sir, invited speaker for today's occasion, esteemed faculty members of the college, students, and all other participants. Today it is definitely a matter of privilege and honor for me to be amongst you all in this esteemed institute and to deliver a small talk on the national education policy. Ripenda sir has definitely and very beautifully given a brief gist of the policy. Sir has almost covered the entire policy in such a small matter of time. So I will be deliberating on the policy in a bit detailed manner. So I'll just share my slide in a while. Is it visible? Can you please confirm?
No, still now it is not visible. Yes, now visible, yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so as you all are aware that today we are going to discuss on the national education policy. We are also going to see the glimpses of the policy, the brighter side of the policy, how the policy is revamped of the existing policy, education policy. how the policy aims to revolutionize the entire education system that we are part of. And also there are concerns, certain criticisms, certain challenges with, of course, with definitely with such a massive policy, there comes challenges and certain criticisms. So we are going to have a look into the overall policy today. I'll just provide glimpses. I'll start with providing glimpses of the policy, the main elements of the policy. Then I'll divide my discussion into two parts. The first one will be about the school education, then higher education, and lastly, I'm going to discuss about some challenges of this policy. As I quote Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. We all are aware that the education system is a pillar for any civilization. The phrase "we reap as we sow" is very effective or very relevant in this context, because only when we nurture young minds, cultivate our young minds at the very formative stages of the career, then only we can expect them to grow into sensible, knowledgeable, skilled human beings and contribute well to the society in the times to come. As Das sir has already said, that our education system is rooted into the historical times, and it was already a rich educational system. Our Indian educational system has always been rich. There was the system of Gurukul system, where the gurus used to impart to their sishyas knowledge of value education, value-based education, skill-based education, knowledge of life skills, war skills. So these terms that has been used in this policy, value and skill-based, are not new. This is rooted very deep into our culture. With this policy, these terms, value-based education, skill-based education, are rather revamped to match with the 21st century challenges. Now the education policy, this new education policy, replaces the previous policy, which is the National Policy on Education 1986. It was definitely a much needed change, because we have been continuing with this very old policy even in this century, which definitely needed a change. So this is a very welcome step from the government's end, because this policy aims to revolutionize the entire system. Now, with issues of 21st century surfacing, like the issues of big data, machine learning, issues of machine learning, artificial intelligence, coding, robot technology. Also at the same time, issues about the depleting natural resources, issues regarding climate changes. All these things are coming up, surfacing at the platform, at the global level, at the national level. So if these things are not incorporated into our system, into the pedagogy that we are teaching our students, then who will combat this issue? Who will come up with solutions to this issue? Therefore, it was a very high time that we had introduced a new policy which addresses all such issues which are going on or which are surfaced into the global platform. You all will agree with me that, of course, what has happened in 2020, the pandemic, the issues of pandemic, infections, virus, we had to upgrade ourselves. By ourselves, we had to upgrade to this online teaching learning mode. We did struggle. You all will agree with me. We did struggle. We heard for the first time terms like Zoom, Google Meet, certain other platforms, Google Classrooms. Being at the teaching profession, maybe this term were popular with the corporates, but for us it was new, and we struggled. We had to learn from each other. We had to struggle to how to operate the things. Till now, most of us are not very much oriented towards it. We are still learning. With pandemic, we had to upgrade ourselves. It had become a very necessity for us to upgrade in this area, in this times of pandemic. Wouldn't have the situation have been better, if we had already been prepared, or if we already have been technologically savvy, because things like this are coming up. Unforeseen things are coming up in today's time, in the future time. So with this policy, we have to prepare our students, we have to prepare our young minds, the future generations, that with emerging issues, any of these issues may be relevant at any point of time. So we have to prepare them, nurture them, cultivate the minds. from the very formative stages. So this is the very basic idea of the new education policy. We will get to know into more details the more about the policy. Also, what is necessary in this policy is that the pedagogy has been upgraded. The policy plans to upgrade the pedagogy into more experiential, holistic, inquiry based, discussion oriented. Gone are those days when teaching would be just instructor led teaching, one to one way teaching. That gone are those days. Today, teaching, learning is a process where both the teacher and the student learn from each other. This should be discussion based, inquiry oriented. The student should be encouraged to ask questions. The solution should not be such that, since I have told you 1 + 1 = 2, that's why you have to write the answer. That should not be the system now. You have to let the student question why 1 + 1 is 2. If the student is not clear with the answer, you have to, deliberate with certain discussions. You have to go deep into the system, deep into the concepts. This is how the policy attempts to develop conceptual learning, critical thinking in the basically you're talking about in the school education system. So just the initial overview of the policy. As I've told you, the policy aims to transform or revolutionize the entire system. We are a part of the system. It is not that only the system of teaching learning will differ. In coming times, like 15-20 years now, we will have entirely new set of people. We'll have entirely new set of people with new skills, new value system, newer ethics, newer knowledge. These people will be more sensitive. These people will have multidisciplinary talents, because this policy attempts to revolutionize the entire system, education system, the way we conduct ourselves today, because of the schooling that we have done from the university level, what we have learned. So when our mindset has been changed, when we learn things differently, when we think differently, starting from a school age. So when we are, at the age after 2025, when we are, in the job market, our completely attitude will be different. So a new set of people will be born out of this policy. If I say this, it will not be wrong. And this policy is basically, the approach of this policy is basically on these three keywords: flexible, holistic, and multidisciplinary. It is flexible because it provides multiple entry-exit provision. We'll see that later on also. It is holistic because, it comprises of various, various multidisciplinary subjects, people from all segments of the society. It is also affordable. It is also made affordable. Plans are that the policy will be made affordable, all the sections. So it is built a holistic policy. It talks about all-round development of a person. A person is good at sports. That will also be discussed about. The person is good at arts, literature. Also, as I said, it's multidisciplinary. You can choose any subject as you want. Also, this policy is in line with the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is about quality education, and the certain pillars which makes this policy achieve the goal are access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. As we move ahead with the slides, you'll get to know how this policy has attained these 5 key pillars of Sustainable Development Goals. The key principles of this policy, these are the very crucial 8 key principles of the policy, that the policy has the basic aim to include everyone, be it on the basis of gender, be it on the basis of economically weaker sections of the society, because the policy aims to plan or set up higher educational institute at every district, or at least near every district. So the inclusiveness of the policy is highlighted with that very point. The policy also plans to encourage participation from teachers, from community, from stakeholders, interactions with the academic and industry interactions, development of curriculum based on both the parties, from the teachers, from the what is required in the job market. So community participation is also encouraged to better the curriculum, the pedagogy. Yes, technology, we have been using technology mostly, yes, since 2020. But this policy talks about, If we go back to our offline mode, physical mode, this policy talks about a blended approach, that we have to be oriented towards both the classroom teaching as well as the online teaching modes. One of the key aspects of the policy is that it emphasizes on local language, the home language or the local language. There are certain sections of the society who are left out of the education system because they cannot match with the language that has been taught, especially English or Hindi, which are mostly taught in most of the schools. So it emphasizes the following of local languages up to class 8, preferably up to class 8. This is the word that has been written, preferably up to class 8. As I've told you, the concepts of the matters of critical thinking, understanding ability, not just textbook oriented teachings will be there now onwards. It will most be experiential play based learning, so that the root concepts are clear. Also, the unique capabilities of students. Now, what happens actually is the existing system, or when we were in school, our parents had this concern or were skeptical to put us into co-curricular activities, singing, be it sports, because we had in our minds that if we concentrate on singing or sports, are we not missing out on our marks? Because that is what we are evaluated on, isn't it? So this policy aims to assemble everything, integrate everything. If I'm good at sports, my marks from sports will also be counted. If I'm good at art, literature, all these aspects will be considered as the very basis of assessment of this policy. So unique capabilities of all the students will be paid interest or paid due attention. So it will be definitely the duty of the schools, the schooling system, the teachers, to recognize the capabilities and encourage the students to pursue in the right direction. Also critical thinking, creativity based on the conceptual learning, and there will be a continuous review of the policy. It's not that we had been doing this 1986 policy. Yes, there has been certain upgradations timely, but this policy also plans to be continuously reviewed, continuously upgraded, curriculums to be upgraded as and when necessary, as and when new things are surfacing in. This thing should be included in the curriculum, the pedagogy. So these are the 8 key principles based on which the entire policy has been designed. Now let us look into a comparative chart here. We have a comparative chart, the existing academic structure and the new academic structure. The previous policy that we have been a part of was just 10+2, that we have to appear in the board exam in class 10 and again another board exams in class 12. That was just the system. It did not address the issue of preschooling, or up to what about the teaching of students up to age of 6. You all must agree with me, or you all will definitely agree with me, that the most creative phase of our life is when we are a infant. The creative approach at our infancy should be addressed, should be encouraged, should be it should be put into the right direction. So this policy, as you can see, it is a system of 5+3+3+4. The initial 5 years will be up to class 2, where the 3 years will be preschooling age, which is also known as the foundational stage. This 5 years is the foundational stage, where the teaching will be most activity and play based, encouraging students to be creative at this stage. Capturing young minds at this stage is very crucial. Rather than saying someone who has in the age of 18 to 20 that you should dispose of the plastics, you should not, you should conserve the environment, you should do this and not that. Rather than saying someone or spreading awareness at that age, it is more effective when the children imbibe those culture, those values at this very formative stage. It stays with us all throughout our lifetime. So this stage is very crucial. I'd say this is the most crucial stage in all of our lives. If we are nurtured well in this stage, if we are focused at this stage, or if we are shown the right direction at this stage, then the other, we can climb up the ladder in the hierarchy easily. So this policy also talks about pays importance at this foundational stage. Then we have the preparatory stage, for class 3 to 5 students, which will again be interactive and classroom based, where students are encouraged to ask questions. These students, kids have a lot of questions, but it is up to the teacher who encourage questions or who would not encourage questions. But this policy says that when it is an activity-based interactive classroom, the students will put questions, and these questions have to be deliberated, needs to be deliberated in the classroom. Then only creative thinking will be developed. Next 3 years are the middle stage or middle school that we say, is from class 6 to 8, which talks about incorporating mathematical, scientific knowledge, mathematical arts, social science, humanity. All this will be incorporated into the syllabus curriculum of the students. Also experiential learning. What is experiential learning basically is when students are learning while they are doing. When you are, rather than, in a classroom of a few students, rather than saying to students that your classroom is so dirty, just pick up the garbage, pick up the classroom waste and throw it in the dustbin. Rather than saying them this, or instructing them like this, wouldn't it be better if you ask the students to experience learning in the sense that, pick up the classroom waste, you build up something with this waste, you come up with your ideas as to how do we recycle this waste, what to do with the waste, rather than instructing them, hear from them. All right, so they will experience, they will do, and they learn. They will cut the papers, they will make aeroplanes, they will make certain the toys and all. So they are experiencing and they are learning the things. This is what the approach should be. And from class 9 to 12, which is the secondary stage, this stage is again crucial because this stage is the stage where the critical thinking ability of the student is developed, or it should be basically nurtured at this stage, right? With all the subjects the student has, the student should be asked to solve problems. The entrepreneurial culture of the students are rather developed at this stage, rather than saying that, this is the problem that exists in the society and this is the solution. Plastic is a problem and this is the solution that we have come up. You ask them the solutions. You ask them to think, this is the problem that exists. How will you come up with a solution? This is the activity, the mental activity that they're going to be a part of, or they're going to work upon at this stage. So this structure is beautifully broken down into 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, 5 plus 3 and 3 and 4 structure. All right, so 12 years of schooling has been beautifully broken down, and also the methodologies have been also mentioned here in the policy as to which stage will have which type of teaching. Yeah, now before I go into the school teaching thing, I just want to ask a question to the students here. Can you tell me which one is the odd one out here? Figure A, B, C, D, E. Just you can write in the comment box. If you want to write in the comment box, you can just write which one is the odd, which one do you think is the odd one out here? Just write down in the comment box. I can see E. Okay, someone has written E. All right, E. Okay. Nice. Okay, someone has written no one. Good. All right. So see, the purpose of me giving you this question is to also make you aware of the existing loopholes in the present system. The answer to this question is that there is no one specific answer. Why can't we all have different point of views? Why should a question have only one answer? Why should be E? From my point of view, it may be D. From someone's point of view, it may be C. This one right answer option has been so deeply, inscribed into our system that we cannot think out of the box. We cannot think out of the box. We have been given a framework. We have been, built a framework within which we are encouraged to think or put our opinions into. So this is the loophole that exists in our education system. So you, based on the answers that I've seen, or this is the very normal answer that I get when I ask this question, the answer There is the answer to this question is that the question is wrong. First of all, there is no odd one out. There may be
It should
many
be A.
odd.
It should be A, ma'am.
Yeah, why do you think so?
Because it is a whole, but the rest of them are halves.
Yeah, that is my point, that all of us may have different answer. From my point of view, E may be the answer. From your point of view, A may be the answer, isn't it? So there is no
Yes.
one right answer. The concept that we have been studying, we have been taught that there is one right answer. The opinion of everyone should match. That is where the creativity is deterred. So you all will agree with me that formal education deters creativity. The structure that we are in today, it deters creativity. You know, in fact, great scientists like Einstein believe that while schooling, the creativity of Einstein declined. Even this statement was from Einstein. So why is it that we are schooling our students, we are educating our students should be to be knowledgeable, skilled people. At the other hand, why is the system deterring our creativity? Isn't it? So that is a matter of question. The existing system, the 1986 policy or the system that we've been following is that we have been given a box, think within the box, do not think outside the box. This is where our creativity has been deterred. Now, you know, taking experts from what I've told you just now, the policy revamps and provides some major reforms for the school education. The policy has certain, certain conditions, like not conditions, the certain measures like that there will be no separation between curricular, co-curricular, academic, vocational, sciences or humanities. For example, I've told you that I am good at sports. I should be allowed, I should be encouraged to pursue sports without being concerned about my marks in English and maths because I'm good at sports. One who is good at maths should not be only encouraged or should not be given all the credit because the person is rote learning. We have this method of rote learning. I tell my students that, you know, you all just mug up the things and vomit in the exams. As soon as you leave the exam hall, everything is flushed out of your system. This is what we are into. This is how the system is. We are more oriented towards scoring marks because we're not encouraging students to be creative. We're not encouraging them to take part in other activities. The one who can mug up well, score well in exams is the one we give the person as a rank 1, is the best student, is the student who is a feature. But you know, the backbenchers, the backbencher theory is always there, that the backbenchers are creative. They are the one who are thinking different things during the classroom. These are the students, you know, it's the backbenchers will definitely love it. But that is the fact, that it should not be mugging up. You should be thinking different things. You should be thinking why. You should question your teacher. If the teacher says that this is the formula of this, for this, for anything, so you have to question, why is this formula? Why can't it be like this? Why is it the other way? So the questioning ability at the school level is more important. All right, then only we can see impacts of it in the higher education. Also, as I've told you, one of the key principles was inclusiveness. Children with disability have also been focused in this policy. It has been written in this policy that for the children with disability, care will be taken that they are not left behind. Also, with more activity-based, more discussion-based theories, more discussion-based learning, there will be reduction in weight of school bags because we have to now shift from textbooks. Yes, we will need textbooks to guide us, but also look around, see around, question, understand, think, cross-question your teachers. This is how it should be. It should not be that, just rot learn the things and vomit in your exams. Also, not just the educational things of the students will be taken care of. The health, wellness, fitness, sport, nutrition, all around development of the students will be taken care of at the school level. The holistic report card system is very brilliant concept because if I'm doing well in sports, that will be recorded in my assessment card, report card. If I'm doing well, someone is doing well in maths, that will be recorded. So it is a holistic report card, not just based on the subjects that we have in the curriculum. The co-curricular activities will also be counted because we need people now who are multi-talented. Because of what has been happening around with the 21st century, coming up, changes coming up, we cannot be concentrated on just one area. Since I'm from humanities or I'm from social sciences, I cannot, at today's time, I cannot be just knowing my area. I should also be knowing how to repair my car, how to repair my light, how to handle a check at the bank. If someone is an engineer and the person does not know how to write a check, that will not do in today's time. All right. So a holistic report card is prepared to encourage students to pursue multiple things that students love or the students are good at. There's another striking feature, which is also kind of debatable. We'll discuss that the medium of instruction should be home language or mother tongue or local language till class 5 and preferably till grade 8. The positive aspect of this is that some students who are left out of the become dropout of schooling system because of language barrier, because it's being taught in English or Hindi. These students will come back to school because they will be much comfortable in their own language. And also vocational education has been focused upon not just in the school education but also at the higher education. We will talk about vocational education in the slides to come. Yes. The universal access of childhood care, this, as I told you, this policy have addressed that the formative stages, the preparatory classes are very effective for the entire growth. It's very crucial for the growth of a person and how the person conducts, develop also in the next phases of their lives throughout the life. So this 3 to 6 years has been put under this early childhood care and education, where activity-based learning, inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning means you ask questions in the class. Students are encouraged to ask questions and the problem is solved in the class. That this is a question, let us find the problem ourselves. All right, it's not that I've told you this is the answer. 2 plus 2 is 4. Since I've told you that is the answer. No, let us solve ourselves. You ask me a question, we will together find out the answer. This is activity-based, inquiry-based. So early childhood care and education has been given specific importance in this policy. Another very striking feature is bringing back dropouts. As I've told you that the policy attempts to bring back dropouts back into the schooling system. Dropouts may be due to financial constraint, because the policy plans to regulate the fee structure. So it will help the dropouts who are dropouts due to financial constraints. They can come back to school. The children who had language barriers, they can come back to school. The children for whom higher education or schooling was not accessible, because the inclusiveness will mean that schoolings will be at every area, every district. These people will also come back to school. So with various measures like this, the government attempts to bring back dropouts to the schooling system. Another important thing, very interesting thing here, you'll find that peer tutoring. This system already exists. All right. Isn't that in a class, suppose one student is very good in maths or science or social studies, the other students generally approach, please teach me this one, how is this one, that I didn't understand what the teacher taught me. This system is already there, but it was in the previous policy, it was nowhere in the system or nowhere as a policy measure. Now, peer tutoring is encouraged. In a classroom of suppose 50 students, if someone is good at something, the student must be encouraged to teach his peers, his friends or the classmates, that this is how it is. So when comes peer tutoring, there comes also the concept of peer assessment. So this should be encouraged. Again, the reduction in curriculum, how the policy is transforming the teaching learning process is reduction in the book or textbook things is just to the basic core essentials that is required in the textbooks. Encouraging critical thinking, discussion-based, discovery-oriented, which means that you find the answer yourself. I'll not tell you the answer, you find the answer yourself. I'll tell you one thing, if we compare our existing education system with education system of others developed countries, Western countries or European countries, what actually happens is that in our countries, in our education system, or this is true for most of the developing nations, how are we being taught in our childhood, in our very first class? A for apple, B for ball, C for that. We are very happy if we can learn from A to Z, isn't it? If we can memorize the whole chart we are declared to be the very successful student. We are declared to be a very brainy student. But you know how this very basic thing is taught in developed countries? First they will teach the student that, okay, A, this is the alphabet A, and A stands for apple. See, R, we cannot think beyond A for apple, B for ball. If we are asked to say something else, we will require some time. What next? Okay, there may be aeroplane, there may be ant. We will require time because we have been asked to memorize the chart and we think alike. We are thinking alike. And this is dangerous for a system when we're thinking alike, when we have no difference of opinions. This is a dangerous for the system. In schools of developed nations, be it America, be it the European nations, how do they teach their children at this stages? They teach the alphabet, then they encourage the children to go home, bring anything they find at home, starting with the alphabet. So for example, 1 week they will take for A. Go home today, bring something from your home which starts with A. So the student will think, okay, today I brought an apple. Next day, what will I bring? The student will search the home. The student will, apply the mind of the student that 1 week is completely dedicated to A. Bring whatever you can from your home, from a shop, whatever, which starts with A. Second week will be B, dedicated to B. This is how they are encouraged to think critically from that state itself. But it's rote learning system. We are thinking alike. We cannot think beyond that chart that we have memorized in our early childhood. All right. So this is how critical thinking is encouraged. Interactive classrooms, both teachers and students. Gone are those days when the teacher come to the class and just write something on the blackboard and not looking just what the students are doing. Gone are those days. We have to be interactive. We have to be we have to learn, co-learn, the process of co-learning. I am learning from my students are learning from me. This should be how what the policy advocates. Also, experiential learning, as I told you, you do something, you are doing internship and you are learning. You are working something in making a project in the classroom, you are learning. So this is how the school system is to be transformed entirely. All right, and this is definitely a very welcome step. Also, some important things here is that since critical thinking abilities are encouraged, the issues or the things about coding will also come at the middle stage. Computational thinking, because coding, to be very frank, to be very honest, being at a university level also, I do not know what coding is because we have never been taught. If I want, I can learn it now, but today is a time when coding has become an essential. Once you pass out from the school, coding is an essential today because it's needed in most companies where you work with. Also, coding has an advantage that it lets you think critically. Coding is not something where you memorize something and code and you type it out. No, you'll have to think critically, then only you can code. So to encourage or to implement this critical thinking process, coding is to be introduced from the middle school stage. Also, newer topics, contemporary topics like global citizenship education, with so much surfacing, the human rights, violence, migration issues, issues regarding women health, women participation in the workforce. All these issues are also to be discussed right from the school level. All right, so these are some of the changes which will encourage students to to develop a different thinking ability. Also, when we are introducing new models in our curriculum, in our pedagogy, in the teaching learning process, how can we not introduce new methods of assessment? If we are following new methods of learning, assessment should also be different. So for this, the National Assessment Center, which will devise certain ways as to how to assess so many talents of people, because we are going to capture a lot of talents. Someone is good at singing, sports, education. So how to be assessed? So this will be developed. It's being worked upon as to how do we capture all these things from the children. And also, this will be AI based, which means that artificial intelligence will track your progress, and this will be stored in the system, so that if I participated in a national level championship, that will also be stored in my report card. If I've done well in social studies, that will also be stored in my report card. So this is the transforming the culture of assessment at the school level. Okay, now talking about the higher education system, before we look into the reforms, let me just, I think I have, passed the time. Still, I'll just give you a gist of the higher education system. That there are existing problems with the system because we have rigid separation of arts, humanities, science. The affiliation systems, the university, for example, Guwahati University itself has so 300, 400 universities that deters the quality of education, and there is lesser emphasis of research. You know why our institutes are lagging behind in global ranking? Because we are not putting much emphasis on research that we should have been putting. Some of the major reforms, as sir has already said, that there will be one single governing body, which is the Higher Education Commission of India. It will have four bodies, which are the Higher Education Regulatory Council. The norms will be laid out by this council. Accreditation Council, which will look into the matters of affiliation, accreditation, or standards and guidelines. Grants Commission is the fund organization, and Education Council basically will look after the learning outcomes, the quality of education. Also, as I've told you, the higher education system plans to have at least one education center, at least one university college in every district or near every district. There will be three categories, as sir has already said, that research-intensive universities, which are paying equal importance to teaching as well as research. Teaching-intensive universities, where mostly teaching is done with less amount of research. And the colleges will be given this autonomous degree granting college status, provided they fulfill the norms that has been there. And this will phase out the affiliation system from in the coming 15 years, since the colleges will have their own autonomy, own freedom to decide the curriculum, to devise their own teaching method. So another very important point here is that the major change that I like to point out here is that there will be 4 years bachelor degree program with the final year as the research or the project-based year. And the students who have completed 4 years bachelor degree program can opt for 1 year PG program, and the students who have opted for 3-year bachelor degree program will opt for 2-year PG program. MPhil will be discontinued. This is a good step because it was, promoting or it was encouraging disguised unemployment, I like to say, because there was no certain very fruitful output after MPhil, because anyway you have to pursue PhD after that. There will be multiple entry and exit points, because if you decide to leave the bachelor's program in the first year, you'll get certification for the vocational course that you pursued. In the second year, for the diploma certificate. Third year will be the degree certificate. Fourth year, degree plus research certificate. And another very striking feature is the academic bank of credit. All the credit will be stored digitally in this academic bank of credit. This is basically a storehouse. It is like a bank account that we have. All the points will be deposited. You being a student of GIMT is pursuing one course from GIMT. You can pursue another course from Tata Institute of Social Science. You can pursue another course from Guwahati University. So all these things that you're pursuing will be stored in this repository of credit. As and when you require, you'll not have a physical mark sheet. You'll have this credit from all the courses that you have pursued, and this is what you will need for your jobs in the coming time. There was a time when after class 10th, I wanted to choose subjects like geography with combination of economics, biology. But definitely we are not very fortunate at that time. But the coming generation it is very possible for the coming generation to choose such multidisciplinary subjects, and all this will be stored in this academic bank of credit. Also, the policy plans to establish multidisciplinary education research universities, which will be at par with the IITs and IIMs, which will, definitely, reintroduce several courses, and this will also focus on the quality of higher education. The policy aims at curbing commercialization of education, because some institutes are charging high, some institutes are charging too high fees. So to curb or to bring a uniformity in how much is charged, this policy talks about that. And another very interesting thing about this policy is going global, with with the aim of making India a global hub of education. We are encouraging students from other countries to come here and learn. That is one. Secondly, foreign universities are also now allowed, or will be allowed from this policy, to open up their campuses here in India. For example, definitely going abroad is a costly affair. You want to study at the Harvard, you want to study at Oxford, that is a costly affair. What if these universities open up their campuses here in our country? This policy talks about internationalizing education by inviting students from outside, also by encouraging foreign universities to set up campuses here. Now, some of the outcomes of this policy are like it will be aligned with the global sustainable development policies. The policy also aims to, increase the gross enrollment ratio by 100% in preschooling stage by 2030. Another very important thing is that the policy talks about vocational education. In the current time, vocational education is considered, or a person pursuing vocational education is considered inferior to someone who is pursuing the mainstream education. Like someone pursuing, pottery, carpentry, or classes of beauty. All such students are perceived to be inferior as compared to someone who is pursuing master degree, the degree courses. But with this policy, this will now be incorporated. Even at the school level, students from class 6 to 8 will have to work as an intern with local potter, local craftsmen, that they will learn by doing. That is how experiential learning will be incorporated in the school. And at the higher education system, this vocational training, vocational learning will also be in the first year of the degree system. All right, the students will be encouraged to take up courses like carpentry, electrician courses, makeup courses, beauty courses, because again I'll say that gone are those days when the aim of a child used to be I want to be a teacher, a doctor, an engineer. Today we can pursue careers in so many spaces. I can be a YouTuber, I can be a makeup artist, I can be a fashion designer. This time has definitely come. The obsession with government job that we have, we should leave it behind today. Okay, so vocational education will encourage students to be multi-talented in multiple disciplines, have a hands-on training on certain aspects. You may be a master in mathematics, but also if you are good at, or if you're interested in fashion technology, fashion industry, you can do that also. You can intern with someone. If you are artistic, you can intern with a potter, local potter. You can intern with a local carpenter. This is how vocational education will be gradually incorporated into the system. So these are some of the outcomes, and the board exams also are, the present system has board exams which follow rote learning system. They are not testing our critical concepts, critical abilities, thinking abilities. So the upcoming board exams in the next 15-20 years that we'll see are to test core concepts and application of knowledge rather than only textbook or content-based learning. Now, let me quickly talk about some of the challenges in this policy. Just now I spoke about the very good aspect that vocational education will be incorporated into the system. Now, there is a social stigma attached to the vocational education that, as I told you, it is not considered to be of that repute as a person pursuing the regular courses. So, with incorporating vocational education into the system, another task is to break the social stigma. Will the parents allow the students to pursue a course in carpentry or in local craftsmen, with a carpenter, with a potter, with a beautician, with an electrician? Will the parents allow their wards to do that? So that social stigma has to be broken down, all right, along with incorporation. So that will be not easy. The incorporation of vocational education into the system will not be that easy. And again, there will be two types of PG program, 1 year and 2 year. There will be difficult in designing as to, in 1 year, how can you incorporate all things into a 1 year program that is being taught in a 2 year program. So that has to be carefully done by the best brains of the country, by the experts. Again, another controversial point here is that, as I've told you, the policy aims to reduce the number of dropouts at the school level. But what is happening at the higher education level, where there is multiple entry and exit? You will get a certificate even if you're doing 1 year of your 4 years bachelor program. I'll get a certificate at the second year also. So is it encouraging dropouts at the higher education level? That is something which we have to think about, because the present system gives me certificate only when I complete 3 years of the bachelor degree program, but this system will give me certificate at each year. So will it encourage number of dropouts at the higher education level? That is to be pondered upon. Again, another controversial thing is the effectiveness of making the home or local language, as the mode of language. Because what happens, in case parents have transferable jobs, someone from South India comes to East India, and the language is Assamese, the person is being taught in their home language, how far they can adjust with such a mode. Also, with multidisciplinary approach, sorry, that I have to pursue arts, sports, my studies, will this increase the stress level of the students? I see my friends, classmates, securing gold medal in swimming, also doing well. There may be some students doing well in the studies. So that will this build pressure in me that I being just good at my study, should I also focus on other areas? So will it increase the stress level? Since this policy is yet to be implemented, some questions will be answered then and there on. All right. So these are some of the concerns about the policy. Also, this policy talks about moving ahead with the online education, adopting a blended approach. But what about the inaccessibility of technology in rural areas? Even when we are conducting webinars, we do have technological problems, network issues, even when we're sitting at the cities. So definitely this has to go hand in hand. That upgradation infrastructure facility will also have to go hand in hand for the proper implementation of this policy. Yes, the policy makers have given a brief timeline as to how this policy will be implemented. Only when this is timely implemented, only then can we say how effective the policy is. All right, because changing the structure, it is massive. The policy is massive. The changes are massive. It completely revolutionized. As I said, will have altogether different set of people in the coming years with different values, different ethics, different thinking capability, different problem solving attitude, different communication skills, right? All these people will have we will have different products, we will have different generation. So only when this policy is implemented as have been stated, then only can we expect this policy to be a game changer in the times to come. So thank you, everyone. I hope I could, since the policy is very huge, I hope I could highlight the main points from the school level also, from the higher education level also. Thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, ma'am, for a valuable space. I am sure everyone will be get benefited from your talk. A very good afternoon to everyone. I am Ritushree Dutta from the Department of CSE and a member of the Literature Club GIMT-Guwahati. I welcome you all to this webinar once again. And I request the participants, if they have any queries, please feel free to ask Dr. Nipenda sir and our invited speaker, Dr. Saptatwa Sandila. Participants, you can have your queries.
Yes, I am having one question.
Yes, you can proceed.
To Nipenda sir. I am having one question to Nipenda sir. That,
Yes.
hello,
Yes.
am I audible?
Yes.
You are audible.
Sir, in this policy, the local language is giving more important. Means local language in technical education, means engineering education, local language teaching, how it will be challenges for the teachers as well as the material procurement and all.
This is a challenge. When you cry, I will narrate an incident. In a train, I was traveling from Delhi to Guwahati. One family was there, 2 small kids, parents were traveling also. They were speaking in American accent. Hi, hello, what is going on? So I could really understand the American accent. Suddenly the father got angry. He rebut his son, how? Ki gussa hai? Borbetia comes out. So whenever people is angry, whenever people feel sorrow, they feel the feelings in mother language. So that is the spirit of mother language that we have. Can you get my point? So if we can learn, I was an Assamese medium student in my schools. I studied in Guwahati in Assamese medium government school. So I was told that potential difference is vibhav perfecto. Vibhav perfecto, yes. So when I entered into Cotton College Physics department in my plus 2 level, so I thought I was having my feelings in Assamese. Okay, but laterally when I go deep into the knowledges of science, so I realized that English will be better for me. English will be better for me. So then I shifted to English medium in my higher secondary level. So whenever people get a chance to learn in mother language, they should be there. But there is no Assamese book in, you say, in Bengali book or a Boro medium book even in engineering rather. So there are very few books. So it is us only who will develop this spirit. Recently, AICT has given some incentive to write books in mother language, local in languages. So now the scheme is being run by Guwahati, sorry, our university also. We have also invited, and from GIMT, few people have applied to write books in Assamese for engineering students. So this is a step forward. Assamese learning or mother language learning is a very good approach. But it will take time. It will take time. 2030 to 2030 is our target thing. So let us try. So what is going on? Prime Minister has given some mandate. Let us take the mandate. So that is really a challenge, and I think it will be overcome. So I think Professor Sandila will agree with you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, yes, surely, sir. Well said.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we cannot, my point of view is that at the same time, we cannot deny the fact that today English is a medium of global interactions. So
Yes.
even though we are concentrating on focusing on the local languages, we cannot live behind English teaching and learning. So I believe that has to be, that has to go hand in hand, both the things.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone have any queries? Any more queries, participants? I think we can proceed further. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Moving on, we have amongst us Professor Dilip Kumar Sharma, sir, from the Department of Mathematics, GIMT-Guwahati. Welcome, sir, for today's webinar. Now, before starting the session, let us give sir's brief introduction. Sir has received his bachelor degree in the year of 1975 and master degree in 1977 from the Guwahati University, then obtained MPhil degree and the PhD degree. Sir started teaching career as a lecturer of mathematics in Nagaon College, later joined Cotton College and retired as a head of the Department of Mathematics. At present, Sir is serving as a head of the Department of Mathematics in GIMT Guwahati. Sir is the author of several popular books on mathematics like Ganitashtra Ramanujan, Nirupam Ganit, Prasin Bharatat Ganit Charcha, Euclid and Geometry, etc. Sir has also written several textbooks on mathematics for secondary, higher secondary, graduate and postgraduate courses. Also translated the famous mathematics book of the 12th century Lilavati by the Bhaskaracharya from Sanskrit to Assamese. Sir is the recipient of the National Award for Science and Technology Communication by DSP, Gov of India in 2017. Thank you, sir, for receiving our invitation and taking out time from your busy schedule to conduct this webinar. Sir, over to you.
ধন্যবাদ ঋতুশ্ৰী মোৰ মাতটো শুনিছানে
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
মই অসমীয়াতে কথাখিনি ক'ম
Yes, sir.
যেহেতু এই লোকেল লেংগুৱেজৰ কথা কোৱা হৈছে গতিকে মই মোৰ যিখিনি কথা ক'বলগীয়া মই অসমীয়াতে ক'ম আৰু যিখিনি আমাৰ শ্ৰোতা ইয়াত আছে প্ৰত্যেকেই অসমীয়া বুজি পায় সেইবুলি মই ক্লাছৰুমত আৰু অসমীয়া নকওঁ যিহেতু মই এতিয়া GIMT পঢ়ুৱাম তাত শিক্ষাৰ মাধ্যমটো ইংৰাজী গতিকে তাত মই ইংৰাজীয়ে ক'ম কিন্তু কটন কলেজত মই যেতিয়া আছিলোঁ তাত স্নাতকোত্তৰ মহলাত মই ইংৰাজী কৈছিলোঁ ইংৰাজীত পঢ়ুৱাইছিলোঁ কিন্তু স্নাতক আৰু উচ্চতৰ মাধ্যমিকত বা আগৰ প্ৰাক বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ত মই ইংৰাজী আৰু অসমীয়া দুয়োটাতে কৈছিলোঁ প্ৰথমতে ইংৰাজীত কৈছিলোঁ কথাখিনি তাৰ পাছত আৰু সেইখিনি কথাকে আকৌ অসমীয়াত কৈছিলোঁ কাৰণ তাত অসমীয়া আৰু ইংৰাজী দুয়োটাই মানে মাধ্যম প্ৰচলিত আছিল আৰু বহুতো ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীয়ে কটন কলেজৰ সেই সময়ৰ বহু ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীয়ে ইংৰাজীতো লিখিছিল অসমীয়াতো লিখিছিল মই দেখিছিলোঁ আমাৰ কটন কলেজৰ অধ্যাপক দিলীপ বৰুৱা ছাৰ অৰ্থবিজ্ঞানৰ তেখেতেও ইংৰাজীত কয় প্ৰথমতে আৰু তাৰ পাছত সেই একেখিনি কথাকে অসমীয়াতো কয় আৰু এইখিনি কথা যে লোকেল লেংগুৱেজ যিটো কোৱা হৈছে যে স্থানীয় ভাষা এই স্থানীয় ভাষাৰ লগৰ মানে কথাৰে ক'ব লাগে সভা সমিতিটো কোৱাটো মই একো বেয়া কথা বুলি নাভাবোঁ য'ত শ্ৰোতাসকলে বুজি পায় আৰু যিটো কথা মানে অসমীয়াত ক'ব পাৰি সেই কথাটো অসমীয়াত কোৱাটোৱে মই ভাল বুলি ভাবোঁ এইখিনিতে মোৰ এটা কথা মনত পৰিছে যে 1836 চনত লণ্ডন বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় স্থাপিত হৈছিল আৰু 1936 চনত তাৰ শতবাৰ্ষিকী উদযাপিত হয় এই লণ্ডন বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় এখন বিখ্যাত বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় তাৰ গণিতজ্ঞ অগাষ্টাছ ডি মৰ্গান তাৰ গণিতৰ অধ্যাপক আছিল বিখ্যাত গণিতজ্ঞ যিসকল আমাৰ গণিতৰ ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰী আছে তেওঁলোকে জানে ডি মৰ্গানছ থিঅৰেম তাৰ তেওঁ অধ্যাপক আছিল যেতিয়া শতবাৰ্ষিকী অনুষ্ঠিত হ'ল 1936 চনত এই সময়ত ব্ৰিটিছ ভাৰতৰ অন্তৰ্গত কলকাতা ইউনিভাৰ্চিটি কলকাতা বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় অতি বিখ্যাত গতিকে সেই সময়ৰ কলকাতা ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিৰ উপাচাৰ্য আছিল ডক্টৰ শ্যামাপ্ৰসাদ মুখোপাধ্যায় ডাঙৰীয়া তেওঁৰ পৰা এটা শুভেচ্ছা বাণী বিচাৰিলে তাৰ লণ্ডন বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ পৰা তেওঁৰ এটা শুভেচ্ছা বাণী বিচাৰিলে কলকাতা ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিৰ তদানীন্তন ভাইচ চেঞ্চেলৰ শ্যামাপ্ৰসাদ মুখাৰ্জীৰ পৰা আৰু মই আজি কিছুদিন আগেয়ে এই শুভেচ্ছা বাণীটো পঢ়িছোঁ অতি দীঘল শুভেচ্ছা বাণী আৰু সেই শুভেচ্ছা বাণীটো শ্যামাপ্ৰসাদ মুখাৰ্জীয়ে ইংলিছত লিখা নাছিল বাংলাতে লিখিছিল এই লণ্ডন বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ যিটো শতবাৰ্ষিকী অনুষ্ঠান তাত প্ৰকাশ পাবলগীয়া এখন কিতাপত কলিকতা বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ উপাচাৰ্যৰ শুভেচ্ছা বাণী বিচাৰিছে আৰু উপাচাৰ্যই কিন্তু ইংৰাজীত লিখা নাই বাংলাত শুভেচ্ছা বাণী লিখিছে বাণী মানে তেওঁৰ যিটো শুভেচ্ছা বাণী এটা সৰু প্ৰবন্ধ সেইটো লিখি পঠিয়াইছে গতিকে আমি যিমান দূৰ পাৰি স্থানীয় ভাষাত ক'ব লাগে সেইবুলি আৰু য'ত শিক্ষাৰ মাধ্যমটো অসমীয়া নহয় বা মাতৃভাষা নহয় এতিয়ালৈকে অভিযান্ত্ৰিক কলেজবিলাকত ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিং কলেজবিলাকত শিক্ষাৰ মাধ্যম ইংৰাজী গতিকে আমি তাত ইংৰাজী ক'ব লাগিব যদি অদূৰ ভৱিষ্যতে মাতৃভাষা হয় তেতিয়াহ'লে হয়তো দুয়োটা ভাষাতে ক'ব লাগিব কাৰণ কিছু সংখ্যক তাত ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰী থাকিবই যিসকলে অসমীয়া মাধ্যম মনলয় ইংৰাজী মাধ্যম যি নহওক আজি নেশ্যনেল এডুকেশ্যন পলিচি নতুন শিক্ষানীতি 2020 বিষয়ে আলোচনা আৰু ইতিমধ্যে কেইবাটাও সাৰগৰ্ভ ভাষণ হৈ গৈছে আমাৰ অধ্যক্ষ ডাঙৰীয়াই কৈছে ডক্টৰ নিপেন দাসে কৈছে আৰু ডক্টৰ সপ্তদীপা চান্দিল্যই অতি সুন্দৰকৈ কৈছে মোৰ যেতিয়া কৰ্মকৰ্তাসকলে এই বিষয়ে ক'বলৈ কৈছিল যে আপুনি 10 মিনিট ক'ব লাগে মোৰ নিৰ্ধাৰিত সময় আছিল 12:10 পৰা 12:20 এতিয়া 12:45 হ'ল মই অতি সংক্ষেপে মোৰ ক'বলগীয়া কথাখিনি ক'ম অতি সংক্ষেপে আৰু সেই কথাখিনি কিন্তু মই শিক্ষানীতিৰ বিষয়ে নকওঁ এই যিহেতু অনুষ্ঠান বিশ্ব সাক্ষৰতা দিৱস ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেল লিটাৰেচি ডেৰ লগত সংগতি ৰাখি পতা হৈছে গতিকে এই সাক্ষৰতাৰ বিষয়ে এটা মই গল্প নহয় সঁচা কাহিনী কম এজন নিৰক্ষৰ মানুহ কেনেকুৱাকৈ সাক্ষৰ হৈ গ'ল আৰু সাক্ষৰ হৈ 25-30 বছৰ বয়সত অ আ ক খ লিখিব শিকিলে আৰু শিকি কেনেকুৱাকৈ এজন বিখ্যাত সাহিত্যিক হ'ল আৰু তেওঁ এতিয়াও জীৱিত তেওঁৰ বিষয়ে মই থুলমূলকৈ 5 মিনিটৰ ভিতৰত কথাখিনি কম এয়া দেশ বিভাজনৰ সময়ৰ কথা বাংলাৰ মানে এতিয়াৰ বাংলাদেশ বা তেতিয়াৰ পূব পাকিস্তানৰ পৰা বহু ভগনীয়া আহি পশ্চিমবংগত আশ্ৰয় লৈছে অসমত আশ্ৰয় লৈছে বহু ভগনীয়া আহিছে আৰু এনেকুৱা এটা ভগনীয়া পৰিয়ালত এটা পৰিয়াল আহিল অতি অষ্টম দৰিদ্ৰ পৰিয়াল অতি দুখীয়া পৰিয়াল আহি কলকাতাত আহি কিবা কৈ থাকিলে অতি দৰিদ্ৰ এই পৰিয়ালৰ এজন ল'ৰা তেতিয়া তেওঁৰ বয়স 5-6 বছৰমান হ'ব তেওঁৰ মাক দেউতাক এনেকুৱাকৈ শৰণাৰ্থী শিবিৰত আছে খাবলৈ একো নাই পিন্ধিবলৈ কাপোৰ নাই মানে আক্ষৰিক অৰ্থতে উলংগ হৈ থাকিবলগীয়া হয় এনেকুৱা অৱস্থা তাৰ পাছত সেই ল'ৰাজনে মানে জীৱিকাৰ পঢ়া শুনা নাই সেই ল'ৰাজনে জীৱিকাৰ সন্ধান কৰিলে একো নাপায় এই হোটেলত কাম কৰা ল'ৰা হ'ল বাচন ধোৱা ল'ৰা কাৰোবাৰ ঘৰত গৰু চৰোৱা ল'ৰা হ'ল তাৰ পাছত এনেকুৱা বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ কামত সোমাল কৰবাত ঠগ খাই কৰবাত মাৰ খাই চাহ দোকানৰ গ্লাছ এটা ভাঙিলে মালিকে চৰিয়ালে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ আৰু লগে ল'ৰাজন বেয়া সংগতো পৰিল মদ খাবলৈ শিকিলে জুৱা খেলিবলৈ শিকিলে আৰু যেনে ধৰক মানে যিটো সমাজ বিৰোধী চক্ৰ বুলি কয় সেই সমাজ বিৰোধী চক্ৰৰ এজন সদস্য হৈ গ'ল ইতিমধ্যে যুৱকজনৰ বয়স তেওঁ এতিয়া 20 বছৰমান হৈছে এই সময়ত কলকাতাত পশ্চিমবংগত নক্সালবাৰী আন্দোলন আৰম্ভ হ'ল আৰু তেওঁ দেখিলে যে বহু ধনী ঘৰৰ আধ্যবন্ত ঘৰৰ অতি চোকা মেধাৱী ছাত্ৰই এই আন্দোলনত যোগ দিছে তাৰমানে ধনীৰ পৰা কাঢ়ি দুখীয়াক বিতৰণ কৰি দিব আৰু এই যুৱকজনো আৰু তাৰ পাছত পুলিচে তেওঁলোকক ৰেষ্ট কৰিছে নানা ধৰণৰ অত্যাচাৰ কৰিছে এনকাউণ্টাৰত বহুতকে গুলীয়াই মাৰিছে এনেকুৱাকৈ মানে অতি সেই সময়ত পশ্চিমবংগত আমি তেতিয়া ছাত্ৰ আছিলোঁ কলেজৰ তেতিয়া শুনো যে নক্সালবাৰী আন্দোলন এনেকুৱা মানে নক্সালবাৰী বুলি এখন গাঁও আৰু এই ইয়াতে দক্ষিণবংগত সেই গাঁওখনৰ পৰা এইটো আৰম্ভ হৈছিল কানু মজুমদাৰ চাৰু চেন্নাল এনেকুৱা তাৰ নেতা আছিল তাৰ পৰাই আৰম্ভ হৈছিল গতিকে সেইটো নক্সাল আন্দোলন আৰু যিসকলে সেই আন্দোলনত যোগ দিছিল সেইবিলাকক নক্সালাইট বুলি কয় আমাৰ অসমৰো আমাৰে সহপাঠী কিছুমানে তাত যোগ দিছিল গৈ অতি চোকা তেওঁলোক মানে চোকা আছিল তেওঁলোকে গৈ সেইবিলাকত যোগ দিছিল যি নহওক এই ল'ৰাজনো এতিয়া যুৱক তেওঁ যোগ দিলে যোগ দি তেওঁ ক'ব নোৱাৰাকৈ তেওঁ নাজানে বিশেষ তেওঁতো পঢ়া শুনা নাই তেওঁ আখৰ চিনি নাপায় তেওঁ মানে ক কেনেকুৱাকৈ লিখে অ কেনেকুৱাকৈ লিখে তেওঁ চিনি নাপায় কিন্তু তেওঁ সোমাই গ'ল তাৰপাছত তেওঁক পুলিচে এৰেষ্ট কৰিলে পুলিচে এৰেষ্ট কৰাত তেওঁ খুব শাস্তিও দিছে খুব মাৰপিট কৰিছে তাৰপিছত তেওঁক আৰু কাছাৰী তাৰপাছত জেল আৰু জেলত থাকিল আৰু জেলত তেওঁ বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ মানুহক লগ পালে এজন মানুহক লগ পালে এজন বয়সস্থ মানুহ এই মানুহজনৰ লগত কথা পাতি তেওঁ খুব বৰ বিমুগ্ধ হয় এই মানুহজনৰ মানে বৰ কথা বতৰাবিলাক খুব ভাল কিন্তু সেই মানুহজনো আছিল প্ৰতাৰক তেওঁ মানে ভাৰতীয় দণ্ডবিধিৰ 420 ধাৰাত অভিযুক্ত ব্যক্তি কিন্তু মানুহজন অতি মেধাৱী ব্যক্তি আছিল আৰু সেই মানুহজনে যেতিয়া গম পালে যে এই ল'ৰাজন এই যুৱকজনে আখৰ লিখিবও নাজানে মানে বাংলাত অ আ ক খ লিখিব নাজানে তেতিয়া তেওঁৰ মানে বৰ খং উঠিল আৰু দুখো লাগিল এই যুৱকজনে পিছত তেওঁৰ কিতাপত লিখিছে যে সেই মানুহজনৰ মানে এটা চকুত আছিল বুদ্ধৰ মমতা আৰু আনটো চকুত দুৰ্বাসাৰ খং মানে এনেকুৱা ধৰণে মানে মানুহজনে মানে সেই কৈদীজনক মানে যিজন যুৱক সেই যুৱকজনক চাইছিল আৰু তাৰ পাছত সেই মানুহজনে এই নাম নজনা মানুহজনে বয়সস্থ মানুহজনে এই ল'ৰাজনক আখৰ শিকোৱাৰ দায়িত্ব এওঁ মানে সুধিলে আৰে মই নিৰক্ষৰ মই এই 25 বছৰ বয়সত কেনেকুৱাকৈ শিকিম বোলে তুমি পাৰিবা তুমি লিখিব পাৰিবা তেওঁ এটা বাক্য ক'লে যে বাক্যটো হ'ল যে জব জাগো তভি সবেৰা তাৰ মানে তুমি যেতিয়াই সাৰ পোৱা তেতিয়াই পোৱা তুমি এতিয়া সাৰ পাইছা 25 বছৰ বয়সত এতিয়াই তোমাৰ বাগে পোৱা জব জাগো তভি সবেৰা আৰু তাৰ পাছত এই মানুহজনে এই যুৱকজনে প্ৰথমতে মাটিত আখৰ লিখিবলৈ শিকিলে এইটো ক এইটো ব এইটো ৰ এই বটোৰ তলত ডটটো দিলেই ফুটটো দিলেই ৰ হয় এনেকুৱাকৈ আখৰ লিখি শিকিলে আৰু এনেধৰণে য'তে পায় ত'তে আখৰ লিখে আখৰ লিখি লিখি তেওঁৰ এটা নিচা হৈ গ'ল আৰু তেওঁ কিবা প্ৰবন্ধে তেওঁ যোগাৰ কৰিলে কিতাপত মানে কাগজ কলমৰ আৰু তেওঁ যি মন যায় লিখিবলৈ ধৰিলে আৰু দুই এখন কিতাপ পঢ়িবলৈ ধৰিলে বহুতে তেওঁক তিৰস্কাৰো কৰিলে যে ঠাট্টাও কৰিলে বোলে এওঁ এতিয়া বিদ্যাসাগৰ হ'ব মানে আখৰ লিখিব শিকিছে 25 বছৰ বয়সত ইত্যাদি তাৰ পাছত এই মানুহজন মানে সেই যুৱকজনৰ কিন্তু এটা চেতনা এটা আহি গ'ল তেওঁ মানে জেলতে কিতাপ পঢ়িবলৈ শিকি মানে তেওঁ ভাল ভাল কিতাপ পঢ়িলে তেওঁ দুখন কিতাপ পঢ়িলে যে যিসকলে বাংলা সাহিত্যৰ কথা জানে তেওঁলোকে যে জৰাসন্ধ বুলি এজন বিখ্যাত লেখক আছে তেওঁৰ এখন লৌহ কপাট বুলি বৰ বিখ্যাত কিতাপ জৰাসন্ধৰ কাহিনীৰে আমাৰ অসমীয়াত এখন চিনেমা হৈছে নতুন আশা অতুল বৰদলৈ এই তাত জয়ন্ত হাজৰিকা সংগীত পৰিচালক আছিল এই তাৰ গানবিলাকো বৰ বিখ্যাত এতিয়াও বাজি থাকে নতুন আশা চিনেমাখনৰ কাহিনীটো আছিল জৰাসন্ধৰ এটা বিখ্যাত গান মোৰ এই মুহূৰ্তত মনত পৰা নাই এনিৱে আৰু এখন কিতাপ পঢ়িলে তেওঁ মনোজ বসুৰ নিচি কুটুম্ব এই কিতাপবিলাক পঢ়ি তেওঁৰ মানে কিতাপৰ প্ৰতি বৰ ধাউতি হ'ল তাৰ পাছত এটা সময়ত তেওঁ জেলৰ পৰা ওলাই আহি তেওঁ ৰিক্সা চলাবলৈ আৰম্ভ কৰিলে তেওঁ জেলত যোৱাৰ আগেও ৰিক্সা চলাইছিল এই নক্সালাইট হোৱাৰ আগেও ৰিক্সা চলাইছিল আৰু তেতিয়া ৰিক্সা চলাওঁতে তেওঁৰ ৰিক্সাৰ চিটৰ তলত আছিল ডেগাৰ মদৰ বটল আৰু এই জেলৰ পৰা ওলাই অহাৰ পাছত তেওঁৰ যিটো ৰিক্সাৰ চিটৰ তলত তেওঁ থাকে সদায় কিতাপ পঢ়িবলৈ শিকিলে এদিন তেওঁৰ হেৰিটো হ'ল অঞ্চলটো হ'ল যাদৱপুৰ অঞ্চল যাদৱপুৰ বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় বা তাৰ আশে পাশে তেওঁ ৰিক্সা চলায় এদিনাখন তেওঁ জ্যোতিষ ৰায় কলেজৰ সন্মুখত ৰিক্সা চলাই ৰিক্সাবিলাক শাৰীকৈ থৈ দিছে তাৰমানে যাত্ৰী আহিলে প্ৰথমখন যাব তাৰ পাছত আকৌ আহিলে তাৰ পাছৰখন আৰু যাত্ৰী আহিলে তাৰ পাছৰখন এনেকুৱা এটা ছিকুৱেন্সত এটা ক্ৰমত ৰিক্সাবোৰ থৈ দিয়া হৈছে এদিনাখন তেওঁ এখন কিতাপ পঢ়ি আছে মানে প্ৰচণ্ড গৰম টিকাফটা ৰ'দ তেওঁ কিতাপ পঢ়ি আছে এনেতে এগৰাকী ভদ্ৰ মহিলা আৰু এজন যুৱক আহিল তেতিয়া তেওঁৰ পাল যে তেওঁ নিব লাগিব আহি ক'লে যে যাব লাগে অমুক ঠাইলৈ যাব লাগে তেতিয়া ৰিক্সাৱালাজনে পিছৰজনক ক'লে ভাই মোৰ এই কিতাপখনৰ আধা পঢ়া হৈ আছে তুমি লৈ যোৱা মই ইয়াৰ পিছত তুমি লাষ্টৰ ৰিক্সাৱালাজনে তেওঁক ক'লে যে এই দুজন মানুহ দেখি তুমি এটা হেৰি কৰিছা ন এটা চেলু এটা লৈছা যে দুজন মানুহ সেই দেখি তুমি এই গৰমত নিনিয়া আৰু এতিয়া মোক যাব কৈছা বোলে এইটো নহ'ব মই তুমিয়ে যাব লাগিব তেওঁ কিতাপখন চিটৰ তলত ভৰাই থ'লে আৰু ভৰাই থৈ তেওঁ মানে ৰিক্সা চলাই গৈ থাকিল এই হেৰিত আসনত সেই বয়সস্থ ভদ্ৰ মহিলাগৰাকী আৰু এজন ল'ৰা এজন যুৱক আৰু তাৰ পাছত গৈ আছে এটা সময়ত ল'ৰাজন নামাৰ পিছত আকৌ ভদ্ৰ মহিলাগৰাকী গৈ আছে তেতিয়া ৰিক্সাৱালাজনে এই মানে ভদ্ৰ মহিলাক সুধিলে যে দিদি এই যি বিছা শব্দটোৰ অৰ্থ কি যি বিছা তাৰমানে বৰ্গীয় জত হ্ৰস্বইকাৰ বৰ্গীয় জত দীৰ্ঘইকাৰ আচলতে উৱব্ব কিন্তু বাংলাটো উৱব্ব বোলা বস্তুটো নাই তাত ব এটাই ব তাৰ হ্ৰস্বইকাৰ আৰু মূৰ্ধন্য ষত আকাৰ এইটো এটা সংস্কৃত শব্দ এইটো বাংলাটো ব্যৱহাৰ কৰে অসমীয়াটো ব্যৱহাৰ কৰে আৰু বাংলাত যিহেতু সেই উৱব্ব বোলা যিটো আমি লিখোঁ সেইটো সংস্কৃতত আছে আমাৰ অসমীয়াটো আছে কিন্তু বাংলাত নাই তাত বাংলাত ব এটাই ব এটাই এই জিজি বিশ্বাস শব্দটোৰ অৰ্থ কি তেওঁ মানুহগৰাকী আচৰিত হ'ব তুমি ক'ত পালা এই শব্দটো তেতিয়া ক'লে তেওঁ যে মই এখন চাণক্য সেন বুলি এজন বাংলা লেখক তেওঁৰ উপন্যাসত মই এই শব্দটো পাইছোঁ তাৰ পাছত তেওঁ ক'লে যে জিজি বিশ্বাস শব্দটোৰ অৰ্থ হ'ল জীয়াই থকাৰ ইচ্ছা মানে মানুহৰ জীয়াই থকাৰ বাসনা জীয়াই থকাৰ ইচ্ছা সেইটো হ'ল তাৰ অৰ্থ হ'ল জিজি বিশ্বাস তাৰপাছত তেওঁ সুধিলে যে তুমি পঢ়া শুনা কৰিছা নেকি বোলে যে মই কেতিয়াও স্কুল কলেজলৈ যোৱা নাই এজন মানুহে দয়া পৰৱশ হৈ মোক কাষৰ লিখিবলৈ শিকাইছিল আৰু তাৰপাছত মই এতিয়া কিতাপ পত্ৰ পঢ়োঁ তাৰপাছত মানুহজন যথাস্থানত নামি ক'লে যে মই এখন আলোচনী উলিয়াওঁ তাক তুমি লিখিব পাৰিবা আচৰিত হৈ গ'লে আৰু মই এজন ৰিক্সাৱালা মই আপোনাৰ আলোচনী কেনেকুৱাকৈ লিখিম বোলো পাৰিবা মই মোৰ আলোচনীখনত তোমাৰ দৰে মানুহবোৰেই লিখে তাত গতিকে তুমি লিখিব পাৰিবা তাৰপাছত ক'লে যে এইটো মোৰ নাম ঠিকনা তুমি এই কাইলৈ পুৱা মোৰ তালৈ আহিবা এই গল্প নহয় দেই সঁচা কথা তেতিয়া তেওঁ যেতিয়া নামটো দেখিলে তেওঁ আচৰিত হৈ গ'ল নামটো মহাশ্বেতা দেৱী এই বাংলাৰ বিখ্যাত সাহিত্যিক তেওঁৰ বিখ্যাত উপন্যাস হাজাৰ চুৰাচীৰ মা আৰু কিন্তু আৰু কাকতালীয়ভাৱে সিদিনা তেওঁ যিখন কিতাপ পঢ়ি আছিল সেইখন মহাশ্বেতা দেৱীৰে কিতাপ এই অগ্নিগৰ্ভ বুলি মহাশ্বেতা দেৱী বৰ বিখ্যাত লেখিকা তেওঁ ঢুকাইছে আৰু সেই মহাশ্বেতা দেৱীৰ গল্পৰ আধাৰতে এই আমাৰ বিখ্যাত হিন্দী ফিল্ম ৰুদালি কৰা হৈছে কল্পনা লাজমী য'ত ভূপেন হাজৰিকাৰ সেই বিখ্যাত তিলহুম কৰে সেই ৰুদালিৰ কাহিনী মহাশ্বেতা দেৱী যি নহওক তেওঁ আচৰিত হৈ গ'ল যে এই মানুহগৰাকী সেই মানে মহাশ্বেতা দেৱী তাৰ পিছদিনা তেওঁ গৈ তেওঁ ভাত তাত খোৱালে ক'লে যে মোৰ আলোচনীখনৰ নাম ভৰ্তিকা তাত তুমি লিখিব পাৰিবা ইতিমধ্যে তেওঁ লিখা আৰম্ভ কৰিলে কি আৰু তেওঁ যে কেনেকুৱাকৈ পূৰ্ববংগৰ পৰা আহিছিল কেনেকুৱাকৈ ৰিক্সা চলাইছিল এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কথা লিখিব ধৰিলে আৰু লাহে 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 তেওঁৰ মানে লেখাটো এটা নিচাত পৰিণত হৈ আৰু এনেকুৱাকৈ বিভিন্ন আলোচনীত লিখিব ধৰিলে যেন কেইবাখনো গৱেষণা পত্ৰিকাত গৱেষকে তেওঁৰ ৰচনাৰ মূল্যায়ন কৰিলে আৰু তেওঁক বিভিন্ন সাহিত্য উৎসৱলৈ যিসকল সাহিত্যৰ কথা পূৰ্বা ৰাখে যে জয়পুৰ লিটাৰেৰী ফেষ্টিভেল জয়পুৰ সাহিত্য উৎসৱ এটা বিখ্যাত উৎসৱ তাত পৃথিৱীৰ বিভিন্ন দেশৰ মানুহে অংশগ্ৰহণ কৰে আমাৰ ভাৰতৰো এইবিলাক শশী থাৰুৰৰ দৰে মানুহে তাত অংশগ্ৰহণ কৰে সেই জয়পুৰ সাহিত্য উৎসৱলৈ তেওঁ নিমন্ত্ৰিত কৰে আৰু তাৰ পাছত তেওঁ এখন কিতাপ লিখিলে যে তেওঁৰ আত্মজীৱনী ইতিবৃত্তে চণ্ডাল জীৱন তেওঁ নমশূদ্ৰ পৰিয়ালৰ আছিল তাক কথিত ভাষাত চণ্ডাল বুলি কোৱা হয় যে ইতিবৃত্তে চণ্ডাল জীৱন এই কিতাপখন মই পঢ়িছোঁ মোৰ আছে নিজা কপিয়ে আছে তাৰ কেইবাখনো কিতাপৰে মোৰ হেৰি আছে তাৰ ইংৰাজীখনো মই পঢ়িছোঁ আৰু সেইখন ইংৰাজীলৈ অনুবাদ কৰিছে ইংৰাজীৰ অধ্যাপক চিপ্ৰা মুখাৰ্জী নে বেনাৰ্জী হ'ল মোৰ টেবিলতে আছে ইয়াতে আছে যে ইণ্টাৰোগেটিং মাই চণ্ডাল লাইফ এন অটোবায়োগ্ৰাফি অফ এ দলিত আৰু কিতাপখনে মানে হিন্দু লিটাৰেৰী প্ৰাইজ আপোনালোকে জানে যে হিন্দু এখন বিখ্যাত দৈনিক কাকত মাদ্ৰাজৰ পৰা ওলাই তামিলনাডুৰ পৰা ওলাই বিখ্যাত কাকত আৰু তাৰে এটা লিটাৰেৰী প্ৰাইজ দিয়ে তাৰ লিটাৰেৰী প্ৰাইজ পোৱাটো সহজ কথা নহয় আনকি তাক লিটাৰেৰী প্ৰাইজৰ বাবে যিটো শ্বৰ্ট লিষ্ট কৰা হয় শ্বৰ্ট লিষ্টত নাম ওলোৱাটোও ভাগ্যৰ কথা এই 2018 চনত তেওঁ এই দি ইণ্টাৰোগেটিং মাই চণ্ডাল লাইফ ইতিবৃত্তে চণ্ডাল জীৱন কিতাপখনৰ বাবে তেওঁ হিন্দু সাহিত্য বঁটা তেওঁ পাবলৈ সমৰ্থ হ'ল তাৰপাছত তেওঁৰ কিন্তু পেচা ৰিক্সা চলোৱাই আছে তাৰপাছত এই যি সময়ত তেওঁ বঁটা পায় সেই সময়ত তেওঁৰ পেচা আছিল এটা ছাত্ৰাবাসৰ ৰান্ধনি আছে যোৱা বছৰ মমতা বেনাৰ্জীয়ে তেওঁক এটা এটা পুথিভঁৰালৰ তেওঁ এটা চতুৰ্থ বৰ্গৰ চাকৰি দিছিল। তেওঁৰ কাৰণে ইংৰাজী একো লিখিব নাজানে, বাংলাই জানে, কিন্তু বাংলা সাহিত্যত তেওঁ এজন এতিয়া মহীৰূহ আৰু তেওঁ চতুৰ্থ বৰ্গৰ চাকৰি দিছিল। কিন্তু এইবাৰ মই দেখিছোঁ যে এই 2021 চনত যিটো পশ্চিমবংগত নিৰ্বাচন হৈ গ'ল, সেই নিৰ্বাচনত আকৌ মমতা বেনাৰ্জীয়ে তেওঁক তৃণমূল কংগ্ৰেছৰ পৰা টিকেট দিলে আৰু তৃণমূল কংগ্ৰেছৰ পৰা তেওঁ সেই টিকেটত জয়ী হৈ এতিয়া পশ্চিমবংগৰ কোনো এটা সমষ্টিৰ বিধায়ক তেওঁ বৰ্তমান। গতিকে চাওক যে সেই নিৰক্ষৰ মানুহজনে, মই তেওঁৰ জীৱনটো এটা ডাঙৰ প্ৰেৰণা বুলি ভাবোঁ। এই আন্তৰ্জাতিক সাক্ষৰতা দিৱসত মই তেওঁক সদায় শ্ৰদ্ধা জনাওঁ। মানুহজনৰ নাম মনোৰঞ্জন বেপাৰী আৰু আপোনালোকে গুগল পালে দেখিব, তেওঁৰ নামত আছে আৰু কিতাপবোৰ বৰ আকৰ্ষণীয়। তেওঁ লোক ঢাক নোহোৱাকৈ চব কথা লিখিছে। মই ভক্ত তেওঁৰ কিতাপৰ। আৰু গতিকে এই আজি বিশ্ব সাক্ষৰতা দিৱসত মই এই কথাটো ক'লোঁ যে এজন নিৰক্ষৰ মানুহে 25 বছৰ বয়সত অ আ ক খ লিখিবলৈ শিকি কেনেকুৱাকৈ এজন অতি বিখ্যাত সাহিত্যিক হৈ গ'ল। এতিয়া ৰূপকথাৰ দৰে, কাহিনীটো ৰূপকথাৰ দৰে, কিন্তু সত্য কাহিনী। এইখিনি কথাই ক'লোঁ। আচলতে ৱেবিনাৰৰ বিষয়বস্তু আছিল নেশ্যনেল এডুকেশ্যন পলিচি 2020। ইতিমধ্যে বহুতো পাণ্ডিত্যপূৰ্ণ কথা কোৱা হৈছে সেই বিষয়ে। আৰু মই অকপতে কওঁ যে মই এই 2020 যিটো নেশ্যনেল এডুকেশ্যন পলিচি মই পুংখানুপুংখৰূপে পঢ়া নাই, গতিকে সেই বিষয়ে মই মন্তব্য কৰাৰ মোৰ ধৃষ্টতা নাই। গতিকে মই এইখিনি কথাকে ক'লোঁ আজি বিশ্ব সাক্ষৰতা দিৱসত। আৰু বয়স কেতিয়াও যে শিকাৰ বাধা হ'ব নোৱাৰে, তাৰ এটা জ্বলন্ত উদাহৰণ হ'ল এই মনোৰঞ্জন বেপাৰী। মই কেতিয়াও তেওঁক দেখা নাই, কেতিয়াও মোৰ তেওঁৰ লগত যোগাযোগ নাই, কিন্তু তেওঁ লেখা পঢ়ি মই তেওঁক বৰ শ্ৰদ্ধা কৰোঁ, মই তেওঁক বৰ ভাল পাওঁ। আৰু এইখিনি কথা কোৱাৰ সুবিধা দিয়াৰ কাৰণে মই লিটাৰেচাৰ ক্লাবৰ মাননীয় সদস্যসকলক ধন্যবাদ জনাইছোঁ। আৰু মই এইখিনি কথা এইবাবেই ক'লোঁ যে মোক বিপুল তালুকদাৰ আৰু মণিৰূপা মিশ্ৰই কৈছিল যে মই যি কওঁ সেয়ে হ'ব, গতিকে মই স্বাধীনতা লৈ মই এইখিনি কথাই ক'লোঁ। নমস্কাৰ।
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experience and expertise with us. Thank you so much, sir. Moving on, we have with us Dr. Nilanjana Dev ma'am from the Department of Business Administration, GIMT-Guwahati. Ma'am, I welcome you to this webinar. Before starting the session, let me give ma'am's brief introduction. Ma'am has received her MBA in the year of 1999 and PhD in 2012 from Tezpur University, and currently associated with the GIMT-Guwahati as an associate professor and HOD in charge of the Department of Business Administration. Ma'am is also a recognized PhD supervisor of Assam Science and Technology University and member of University's Board of Studies. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation and taking out time from your busy schedule to conduct this webinar. Over to you.
Well, a very good afternoon to all of you. We are already behind schedule, so I'm not going to take much of your time. Since this webinar has been organized on the occasion of National Literacy Day, I would like to speak something about literacy rate, and also the strategies government has taken so far in order to improve the literacy rate of our country. As all of us, we know that the International Literacy Day is celebrated on 8th of September every year. Actually, this particular day was initiated by UNESCO in the year 1966 to remind the people about the importance of literacy as a matter of dignity and human rights. Like all other institutions across the globe, at GIMT also, we observe the day on 8th of September to create awareness on the importance of literacy in society. This year, however, 8th of September was a holiday, so the Literature Club of our institution has taken the initiative to celebrate this particular day today. Believe me, the date of celebration of International Literacy Day has changed for us. but the basic spirit or motive behind the day is still the same. Well, the webinar was something on New Education Policy 2020, but let me be very honest. I have got very little knowledge on New Education Policy 2020, so I dare not to speak on that. Rather, I prefer to speak on literacy and also the strategies that Government of India has taken so far. We often come across the term literacy and literacy rate. Now, my question is, what does actually literacy mean? I'm sure for many of us, literacy means basically the ability to read and write. Well, this meaning of literacy was actually acceptable some few years back. The meaning of literacy actually has evolved over the years. And today when we talk about literacy, it doesn't mean only the ability to read and write, but also it includes the ability to use the language, to use images, to use numbers, and most importantly, to use digital means to communicate, understand, acquire knowledge, and disseminate information. Actually, this digital literacy dimension of literacy was included here after the COVID-19 pandemic. During COVID-19 pandemic as well as in the post-COVID pandemic period, we have understood how important it is to be digitally literate. So as we all know, COVID-19 pandemic has brought a lot of changes in our society. We have seen the changes, and it has really had an adverse impact on the learning process of children and young people, and further increased the divide between literates and illiterates. But that is what we cannot avoid, so we have to live with it. Now, literacy actually doesn't mean just about educating or something to do with education. Literacy is considered to be a unique and a powerful tool which we can use to eradicate poverty. It is also considered as a strong means for social and human progress. Even UNESCO has rightly highlighted the fact that illiteracy and poverty constitute a mutually reinforcing vicious cycle which is very difficult to break. So for student participant, let me explain in a different way. Now, if a person is illiterate, definitely his earning capacity is going to come down, and there is a possibility that he may remain poor. And if he's poor, definitely literacy of the next generation is going to get affected. So this is a vicious cycle. I have said that it's difficult to come out of this vicious cycle, but it is not impossible. There are many people who have got strong willpower, strong determination, and they were able to come out of this vicious cycle, and they were able to establish themselves in the society. So in any ways, we can say that illiteracy happens to be a major, illiteracy happens to be a major barrier for eliminating poverty, and government across the globe, not only in India, everywhere is giving maximum importance on how to improve the literacy rate of their country. In our country, since independence, our government has been designing strategies on how to increase the literacy rate and also to improve the standard of living of our citizens. We can mention the name of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. He was the first education minister of our country. He was a great visionary. He was the person who was behind the establishment of a number of institutions, number of universities, and also regulatory bodies like UGC and AICTE. He has highlighted the fact that if we really want to improve the literacy rate of our country, we have to give importance to universal primary education, which Nitin Dastar has also said. So according to him, universal primary education should be made free and it should be made accessible to everybody without any discrimination. So that was his vision. He rightly thought that through primary education we would be able to improve the literacy rate. Later on in the year 2009, Government of India through Right to Education Act has made education compulsory for all children up to the age of 14 years. So actually 6 to 14 years, that was the age bracket they have selected. So every child falling in that particular age bracket should be given compulsory education. Again in the year 2020, the new education policy came. This new education policy is expected to bring a lot of changes in our existing educational system. So frankly speaking, there are a lot of steps that were taken by the government in the direction of increasing the literacy rate. As of now, the literacy rate of our country stands around 74%. So it's not that bad, but not that good. But if we compare it with the global average, which stands at 86%, this figure is considered to be not a satisfactory one. So we have got a long way to go. We are designing strategies after strategies. How successful our strategies would be, only time is going to let us know. So as I've told you, I'm not going to take much of your time. Before concluding, I would like to point out that literacy happens to be one among United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, SDG. So there is a lot of responsibility on everyone across the globe. No doubt Government of India or Government of other nations, they are going to do their best in order to improve the literacy rate of their country. But as individuals, we can also make the difference. As teachers, we teach in the classroom. Time has come that we need to move beyond the classroom and help those people who are willing to become literate. So all of us should work unitedly, and then probably within few years or so, we can attain 100% literacy rate in our country. This is what we all are expecting. But as I've told you, it is going to take time. Definitely strategies which are formulated by the government is going to help us in that direction. But as individuals also, we have got some responsibility to the society, social obligations we have, and we need to ensure that we are able to do our best in order to give something to the society in return. So with this, I would like to conclude. I would also like to thank the Literature Club for giving me this opportunity to talk to all of you. It was a very good session, very interesting session. Thank you once again and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable words. Next, we have prize distribution ceremony. As all of us know, the Literature Club GIMT-Guwahati has organized an online recitation competition on the occasion of International Literacy Day. Today, we are going to declare the result of the recitation competition. I request Dr. Madhumita Mahanta ma'am, Lead Students Affair of GIMT-Guwahati, to declare the result. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Ritushree. First of all, I'd like to thank all the speakers of today's webinar, starting from Principal Sir, Nipenda Sir, Saptadipa Ma'am, Dilip Sharma Sir, Nilanjana Ma'am. It was, all the presentation were very encouraging and enlightening for us. So without wasting much time, let me declare, as Ritushree had already mentioned, that Literature Club of GIMT, they organized on the occasion of International Literature Day an online poem recitation competition among students. So both in Assamese and in English. So Okhomia Hakhat কবিতাৰ শিৰোনাম আছিল প্ৰকাশ নিশব্দ সময় কঠিন বাই ডক্টৰ ভূপেন হাজৰিকা। প্ৰথমে মই অসমীয়া ভাষাৰ প্ৰতিযোগীসকলৰ যিসকলে বঁটা পাব তেওঁলোকৰ নাম মই ক'বলৈ আগবাঢ়িছোঁ সো তৃতীয় পুৰস্কাৰ পাইছে অসমীয়া শাখাত কম্পিউটাৰ সায়েন্স ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিং বিভাগৰ হিমাশ্ৰী বড়ো সো দ্বিতীয় পুৰস্কাৰ পাইছে প্ৰাচুৰ্য শৰ্মা সিভিল ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিং ডিপাৰ্টমেন্ট আৰু প্ৰথম পুৰস্কাৰ পাইছে অসমীয়া শাখাত প্ৰিয়ংকা কলিতা কম্পিউটাৰ সায়েন্স ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিংৰ So now I am going to announce the English from the English recitation competition. So the poem was "The Charge of the Light Brigade" by Alfred Lord Tennyson. We all like this poem, so I am going to announce the results. So third prize goes to Jyotisma Medhi from Civil Engineering Department, and second prize goes to Bhashini Priya Das from Electrical Engineering Department. Then the first prize goes to Subhranil Ghosh from Computer Science Engineering. We have consolation prizes also. অসমীয়া শাখাৰ বাবে দ্বিতীয় পুৰস্কাৰ পাইছে বিলাক্ষী বৰদলৈ from Civil Engineering Department আৰু প্ৰথম পুৰস্কাৰ অভিলেখা বৰানাথ from MBA Department. And for English section, the consolation prize goes to Swaloni Sharma from Civil Engineering Department. So I'd like to thank all the members of Literature Club of GIMT. They have taken all the trouble and to organize this through technology. So as Sir and Ma'am had already mentioned about the use of technology in a new education policy. So thank you all. Over to you, Ritushree.
Thank you, ma'am, and congratulations to all the winners. Let us hear the recitation of the winners. Since Priyanka Kalita is absent, I request Subhranil Ghosh, who is the winner from the English section, to perform his recitation. Subhranil, it's up to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Subhranil Ghosh from CSA Department, 5th semester, and I'm going to recite my English poem, which is The Charge of the Light Brigade, written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. The poem goes like this. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death, rode the 600. Forward, the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death, rode the 600. Forward, the Light Brigade. Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew someone had blundered. There's not to make reply, there's not to reason why. There's but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell, boldly they rode and well, into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell, rode the 600. Flashed all their sabers bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabering the gunners there, charging an army while all the world wondered, plunged in the battery smoke, right through the lines they broke. Sack and Russian reeled from the saber stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell, while the heroes and horse fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made. All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made. Honor the Light Brigade. Noble 600. Thank you.
Thank you, Subhranil. It was really nice. Now we are in the end of the webinar. I request Manirupa ma'am, Coordinator Literature Club GIMT-Guwahati, to deliver the vote of thanks and wind up the webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ritushree. I, on behalf of Literature Club, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the honorable delegates who bless us with their presence and took out valuable time of their busy schedule. I would like to thank Dr. Nipen Das as he shared his precious knowledge with all of us. A big thanks to him for his valuable talk. I also mention our deep sense of appreciation to Dr. Saptadipa Sandillo for sharing with us her vast knowledge about NEP, its opportunities and challenges. We all are benefited by her talk. I also wish to express my gratitude to our principal, Sir Professor Thuleshwar Nath, for not only his valuable speech but also his guidance and support. I would like to express our sincere thanks to Professor Dilip Sharma sir for his valuable speech. I also extend my thanks to Dr. Nilanjana Dev for her valuable speech. I wish to express my gratitude to all the participants present here and make this event successful. My heartiest thanks to the HODs, HOD inserts, faculty members, lab instructors of various departments, students present here. At last, I want to state that we are most grateful to all of you. We thank you for being with us since morning. It has been a great pleasure for us. Thank you so much. At last, not the least, I thank all the members of Literature Club for your cooperation for making this event a resounding success. Once again, thank all of you. Thank you, and by this, I want to say the end of this meeting. Thank you very much.